Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and listening in. It's another beautiful Saturday here in San Antonio. Like always, just echoing same thing Matt just said. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Let us know what you feel about the topics in hand that we talk about today. This is my baby. Today we're going to be discussing about our lovely, beautiful children. And do they feel like, or do they act like they are entitled, even when they are young adults? And should they be entitled? And what is the cutoff as far as when do we stop? Now, of course, we never stop caring for our kids, right? We always going to want to be there. We always want to see them do well and do good. But should they be feeling like they are entitled until they grow old? So that's the topic for today. So again, I always lead with STS, guys. I'm a trainer, so I always use that in my fitness world, but I always like to say use that in any aspect in life. Anything we try to accomplish, we always got to stay focused. We got to trust the process that we're going through. And most of all, we got to stay consistent. So that's today's topic. So we're going to go ahead and get that started. So just like I was saying on the top, that should our kids be entitled? Are they right to be entitled? For meaning, should they get anything they want regardless because they are kids? Are they entitled to get things or even be helped because of that reason? And I just felt like it's a good subject because I have, 3 young adults. And I just had a very deep conversation with my daughter the other day, my oldest. She just turned 30 in August. And we had a deep conversation. As you get older, everybody have life that we go through. So we tend not to be around each other a lot. And I haven't been there, been around communicating. So I'm going to try to keep this short. So basically, we had a deep conversation. She told me how she felt about certain things. And I came back with her because she told me that she felt some type of way because it felt like whenever she called and needed me for something, I felt or I acted like I didn't want to help her. And she stated that you're my dad, so you're supposed to help me. And that's something that you should want to do because I'm your daughter. And I felt like you should help me. That was not word for word, quote unquote, but that's somewhat give you a gist of what she was saying. So my comeback was, granted, you are my daughter. I'm always going to want to be there for you. I love you. But I'm a firm believer in we teach and raise our kids to prepare them to be young adults and get ready for the world when they face it on. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with being there for your kids. I'm not out here saying just disregard your kids and after they grow, you just release them and you don't have to deal with them no more. But in a sense, you do because you prepared them, hopefully, for the world and take it on to where they're going to go through life trials and tribulations. But I told her that doesn't mean you are entitled to be helped. I said, at this point, anything that a parent do, in my opinion, is a privilege. It's not a necessity. So if you call and be like, hey, Dad, I need $50, it shouldn't be, you need to give me $50 because I'm your daughter. So you should be giving it to me because I'm your daughter. I'm like, yeah, that's true. But that doesn't mean you're entitled to it because you are my daughter or son. And I'm a firm believer that if you need help, of course, if I have it, I give it to you, like I always tell them. But I'm not just going to give it to you on the premises of you're my daughter or you're my son, so I need to give you $50 just because of that, because that doesn't make it fair because you are a young adult. Now, if you're struggling, something bad happened, again, I get it. You can't, you need help. Of course, you're going to go to your parents. But if you have other means of getting it, by all means, do what you got to do to get it. Now, if you tried everything else and you exhausted all your other opportunities or possibilities, then of course I'm going to help. But don't, again, act like I'm entitled to give it to you just because I'm your dad. So that's what this topic is going to be about today. I just want to kick it off and start it off with that. I'm going to let you give your input, Matt, then I'm going to come back and give some scenarios like I always do. And then again, anybody that's listening, please tune in because we all parents out there. So I know somebody got to have something to say about this one. So
All right. This is a good one. I think this one is going to touch some people's nerves, especially when I'm going to speak on my opinion about this topic. It's like always, everything we talk about, I believe that is relative. So I've been watching Deion Sanders a lot because he's just all over the news, and everything you turn to is Deion Sanders, Deion Sanders. So I actually watched one interview, and I forget who it was with. It was a female, and what he spoke on, it kind of, to me, it challenged you, especially for men. It challenged you as a man as far as how you look at raising your children. That's post teenager and a little child. You know, all his children are grown, in college or out of college, or whatever the case is. And he always speaks on about being in that child's life, being present, and how he talks about it's the man's responsibility, regardless how old they are, to always provide and protect for them. And he said he was talking to his children, and I think one of them, Shador, asked them, what do we have to do to show you that we love you? He said, you don't have to do nothing because my love for you is unconditional. And he's like, regardless what you give me or what you do to me, I'm always going to love you. So that just had me thinking, because how I look at it, I'm like you. I blame a lot of parents as far as not raising their children right. This new generation, I know it's challenging because the economy is really bad. Everything is expensive as hell. So it's really challenging for a young adult to live on their own. So more than likely, they're going to be at home with their parents, or they're going to be with friends or significant other, or whatever the case is. But if they're not, more than likely, they'll be home with their parents. So all this is still new for me, you know, because I was in the military for 21 years. So most of, if not all of the soldiers coming in were young adults from 19, 18, 20, 21 and on. So they came straight out of high school, out of college, and they was living on their own. You know, they was fending for themselves. Some were staying in barracks, some would stay off post. So I never saw, other than when we first moved to San Antonio, and I was there for 2 years before I went in?
Yeah,
No, 5 years.
left. Yes.
So for 21 years, I've seen young adults, you know, on their own. So now, post-military, it's a challenge for me. I'm like, I don't get it. Why is all these kids or children staying at home? Why are their parents allowing them to stay at home? So anyway, not to go too far off topic, because I know that's not what the topic is, but I just wanted to give a little backstory as far as why I think the way that I think. So in a sense, sometimes I do feel as though children now, young adults do feel entitled in the sense of, you're my dad, so you should always be there for me, regardless what I say to you, what I do to you. That's what your job is. In a sense, that's true, but on the flip side of it, for me, this may rub some people the wrong way. Once you hit 18, 19, or 20, you become a young adult. You're still my child, but I look at you as a person. So just because you're my child, that's not going to trump me looking at you as a person. You still got to display good character. You still got to display morals and values and principles and all that stuff and be a generally good person. So if you don't display those things, that's not going to trump me, you know, treating you a certain type of way because you're my child. And I do think most people feel as though because we're parents, or feel as though their parents have to do something because they are their parents. And I'm not going to throw the person under the bus, but one of mine's told me, I didn't ask to be in this world. Y'all brought me in here. So basically how I receive that as, it's your fault. So because I didn't ask to be here, you need to do what you need to do to take care of me, regardless how old I am. So in a sense, I do feel as though not all children, I think a good majority, from what I've experienced, do feel entitled that their parents have to be there for them and make sure they take care of them, even after they're long past their young adulthood.
Right. Now, it's funny you said that, because I think all our parents shake our heads on that one and be like, yeah, I had not maybe my son didn't say that, but the two young ladies, they did say, well, I didn't ask to be here. So yeah, when you said that, that just took me back, because I can count the many times if I heard that line. But I'm gonna say something, and I'm gonna try to break this down in a category. So I'm thinking about the conversation I had the other day with my oldest. So she said something that I will say, as parents, I think we should always be there, is I think financially, I think is where I think the kids these days think they are entitled. Now, emotionally, I think we should always be there for our kids, right? Yeah. So I think that would be the one that would be trumped, where wherever they're going through, like, you don't want to see your daughter, well, let me rephrase that. Even if, like, my daughter, God forbid, she ever had to go through this, she go through a bad relationship with a dude, and he's kind of abusive type, you want to be there for her. You want to make sure that you there, hands down, you're going to take care of her. But at the same token, I would tell her, look, you need to be, wiser and make better choices. Now, if you're going to keep going back to somebody that's like that, at some point, it's like, okay, I've been here and tried to do everything I could to help you, and you still refusing to listen. So you're going to keep going back. So at that point, then you have to learn by example, not by example, by experience. So I think even then, emotionally, you should be there, but at some point, they got to step back. We got to step back and be like, you're going to literally have to learn this on your own, because you're not listening. Even though I'm your parent, you're only taking it as a parent. You're not taking it as constructive criticism. You're looking at, well, you're my parent, you're supposed to be on my side. So even on that note, I think we got to be careful and continuously be there. And in other words, take your kids' defense, even though they might even be wrong. You don't know if they could have started something with the situation with their significant other, and they just, oh, you my dad, you need to take care of this, because I'm going to give y'all an example. Now, I don't know if I ever told you this, Matt. You was already obviously in the military, but my oldest, we was chilling in the pool. We was at her apartment complex. And this is where you got to be careful as parents, because you want to defend your kids. You want to take care of them. But sometimes we did a lot of shit, Matt, you and I, when we was young, that we caused, but we would run home and make it look like it was the other people's fault. So my oldest was out there, and we was at a pool. It was a bunch of dudes, a bunch of her kids, friends. And I can never forget this, because the guy was from New Orleans. It was right when Katrina happened in New Orleans. So what happened, because New Orleans was flooded, a lot of them migrated to San Antonio. So San Antonio took in a lot of New Orleans people. So anyway, so she was talking to this one guy. I wasn't really listening, because I was entertaining my other daughter. All I can hear is her yelling at this dude, fuck you, I don't care, I'm gonna get my brother to kick your ass. So I was like, what's going on? Because I could tell something was going on, because the way she was going off on a guy, something was not right. So I immediately got up and said, what's going on? What's wrong? This boy over here talking messing, and I'm gonna kick his ass. He don't know I got an older brother. I'm gonna get my older brother. And I was like, what are you doing to my daughter? So immediately, and I, as an adult, I should have stopped it, got both sides, but it's my daughter yelling at the top of her, lungs, cussing this dude out. So I go up to the guy, hey, what are you doing to my daughter? So he gets in my face, F you, fuck you, dude. And because New Orleans, if you ever heard anybody from New Orleans, their little slang is warty. Yeah, warty. That's like we say yo or whatever back home on the East Coast. New Orleans is known for, when they talk, a lot of guys say warty. That's just their slang. So he kept saying that to me. And first of all, I'm like, you're stepping to a grown adult. So you passed that stage of acting like a minor. Now you an adult, because you in the streets. You don't come to an adult and act like you a grown-ass man, because you're going to get treated like a grown-ass man. So anyway, so he kept getting in my face, and I said, well, whatever you did to my daughter, you need to cut it out. So he still immediately kept talking, put his finger in my face, and that's just the wrong thing to do. So anyway, the point is, he ran. So I chased him around the pool. I grabbed him. I'm not lying. It's a true story. I grabbed him by the neck. And I said, if you ever do anything to my daughter again, I'll kill you. And then Arbery, her older brother, is the one that stopped me. He's like, hey, man, he, what, 18, 15, no, 18 at the time, had enough. He had more common sense at the time than me, and said, hey, man, your daughter's right here. You don't want to go to jail behind this dude. And he's stupid. He's young. So just let him go. Because I was going to choke his ass out and throw him in the pool.
Yeah.
But I let him go. So the point and moral of that story is sometimes we tend to go in our defense and react. So we got to be careful as parents to be able to know that, hey, even though she was a minor then, even as adults, you can get into an altercation, whatever. So just because we are parents, we are not entitled to defend if we don't know the whole situation. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now, that to me is the money thing is my main thing. For whatever reason, you struggling, and like I said, we all have issues we go through as young adults. But if you don't try every other avenue and you just immediately go to me first and be like, well, you my dad, you're supposed to help me. I need $200. And then like, oh, I don't have it. Well, why don't you have it? I don't have nobody else to go to. Did you ask anybody else? No, why should I ask him? That's your dude. Let's say you have a boyfriend. Why didn't you ask your boyfriend? Well, that's not his job. That's my dad's job. I'm like, no, because for one thing, my belief is this. Now, again, parents should be there. And this is what I told my oldest the other day, because she told me that situation. I said, granted, I'm gonna be here if you exhausted every other opportunity or chance. But if you meet a dude and you have a boyfriend, he is responsible to watch out and take care of you, because that's the part that a man's supposed to do. When you meet a woman, you're supposed to say, I ain't taking over. I got this. I got whatever your daughter needs. And if she needs help, if I can't do it, then you go to your parent. Because how are you going to be there and say, I'm the man for you, if you're not going to be able to help her, whatever situation she's in, regardless if it's emotionally, financially, whatever, so spiritually. You should, the guy that you with, if you're in a relationship, should be taking on that role. That's just, in my eyes, that's the way it should be. Because she told me, well, I told him I don't need his help. That's what I got a dad for. So I looked, I was like, really? I said, okay, but if he want to help, then you should let him help. Because again, I'm your dad. Yeah, but you're grown. He's taking on that responsibility because he's your guy or significant other. That's his responsibility now. Now, if he can't do it, then come to me and ask. But she was saying basically, that's not the dude's responsibility. That's the dad's. And then if the dad can't do it, then she go back to him. And I was like, I think that's backwards. But that's where I believe the entitlement, is not right. I don't agree with it. And I think part of it, and I'm gonna let it go to you, Matt, because I know I'm kind of running it on. And this gonna offend some women. I think it depends on if it's a guy or a girl. And we know the old saying, mama's boy. I think some guys that grew up with single moms, I get it, I understand. But some guys tend to be too, I go to my mom for this and that because she's always been there, and they feel entitled that their mom will help, when no, that is not her responsibility. You grew up, you're a grown man now, you need to go ahead and take on that responsibility on your own. Again, if you can't do it, then you go to your parents. But it should not be, I'm gonna go to my parents first and I ask whoever I'm with second. I don't believe in that. That to me, I don't agree with that, but I think it's a lot of parents that feel that they have to help their kids because maybe they grew up and they didn't have a lot. And I hear that a lot from a lot of moms. I didn't have it a lot when I was growing up, so I don't want my kids to go without, so I want to give them everything. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't give it too much to where and that's part of the reason why a lot of these young adults feel that they are entitled, because they got it so much and they never had that no said to them. So they feel like, hey, I'm 30, but you still need to help me. So I think that's part of the problem as well, is, you give it to them too much and we don't have that balance. You can have it, but you got to show you deserve it and earn it at the same time. Okay, I'm going to take a breather. I'm going to let you talk.
I don't know. I'm still kind of torn between it. I don't know how you may have responded when we left home, but I know at no point I ever called home, whether it was mom and dad, and asked them for anything, or
Right.
felt as though it was their right or my right that they had to provide for me once we turned 18.
Mhm.
So that's why it's just hard for me to grasp it, because I don't think that way.
Right.
So, like I said, Dion, I think he's putting a lot of us, putting a light on us,
Mhm.
because I think a lot of children see that and be like, wow, that's how a dad's supposed to be,
Mhm.
which is all fine. But I agree with you. I think the emotional point or side of it, that's something you never would check out on. But even that, to an extent, I feel as though that they still have to get to a point to where they're able to stand on their own and not have to depend on their parents for guidance. Like when our age, 50, I guess in a sense, if the parents are older, like dad was 90, so I guess you can ask him if he was still here. So dad, how would you handle this?
Mhm.
When you was my age. So in a sense, like I said, as far as being a father, in that aspect is never going to go away. And like you said, we
Mhm.
should be there for that. But when it comes to like financial things, maybe early 20s, because they still learning and growing, and they still got to go through
Mhm.
that phase of their life. But I think once they get past 25, it should really be no excuse. Like that whole entitlement thing, as far as, okay, you're my parent, you should still help me regardless how old I am.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just don't see that should be the case. But
Right.
again, it comes down to an individual thing.
Mhm.
There's no set standard as far as how people raise their children, as we can see. Excuse me. So if somebody want to do that, that's on them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like every household is going to be different.
Yeah.
So is it really wrong in a sense?
Mhm.
Because if that works for them, that works for them. If that's the dynamic in their family, then that's how it is over there for them. So how it
Right.
is in your household and mine and others,
Right.
that's how it is. So to me, you can pose that question, but as always, like I always say, everything is relative.
Right.
Now, what I have issue with is when people start saying, okay, this is how you supposed to do it. This is the norm. This is the standard. This is how you supposed to raise your child. That's what
Mhm.
I have pushback on. Just
Yeah.
like we talked about a couple of episodes before, as far as I'm a Sigma male, I don't form to the confines of society. I just don't. I don't follow their rules. I make them my own rules. And I don't believe what society says of how you're supposed to function is how I'm
Mhm.
going to function. So for me, I'm always going to be like that rebel and that outlaw, because I just don't follow those same type of standards that
Mhm.
society puts on everybody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying about, everybody household is different on how they do it. But the reason why I say that is funny because, and we all have conversations with adults, and I can't count how many times we as adults say to each other, man, these damn kids nowadays, they just so entitled. They act like they deserve everything. And that's where I always fall back. And I've been lately have to check myself when I complain about it, is because it's a cause and effect. If we allow it, then why wouldn't they expect to be entitled? In a sense, not saying they right for it, but I always have this theory. If you keep giving somebody something, do you really think they're gonna say no or stop? Now, logically, you would think at some point they have self-esteem and pride and be like, no, 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 I don't want this. I want to do it on my own, which a lot of us do. So I'm not saying a lot of people that don't, but just saying the ones that don't, which some of these kids nowadays, that's why they get so used to getting it. So they ain't gonna tell you to stop. They loving it. So they like keep feeding me, feeding me. So now their mindset is so conditioned on thinking, oh, I'm supposed to get it because you've been giving it to me all this time. So that's why earlier, like I said, I think it should be balanced. I don't think there's nothing wrong give when you know, reward someone when they did something perfect. Okay, good. Now, you know what? You get it because you earned it. So to me, that feels like it's more of an accomplishment. They did something that they feel like, man, see, I deserve it because I worked for it, not just because I'm your daughter and I got a pretty smile. No, it's because I put in the work, I'm busting my ass, I'm doing what I got to do. Yeah, you know what? Let me help you out because I see you doing everything you can. So that's your reward for, you know, trying. Now, if you're just sitting around lazy at home and you don't want to work, you don't want to go to school, you ain't trying to better yourself, but you still expect to be given stuff. Yeah, that to me, that's a no. Hell no. You need to prove something. Show me that you know, you're trying. So I think that would be okay on that aspect to give to your kids. But I mean, because I work with a lot of young adults at my job. So that part, when I say entitlement, is their attitude is what gets me, is they act like they walk in because they 21 and I had this at home. So I said, no, dude, you at work. So you're going to work and earn it. Now, if you don't want to work and earn it, then go home and let your parents keep taking care of you. But it's just, that's how some of them act at work. So I can't speak for all of them, but I'm just saying some of them, the small few that are, that's where I get a pushback on when I say the entitlement is just the attitude towards it. Is if you're not going to give me nothing, well, I deserve it. Like, what did you do to deserve it? Again, if you did something, you put in work, then all means, like my oldest daughter, like she's a single mom, and I'm not trying to put her out there like that, but she's working, she's busting it, she's doing what she has to do. So like I told her the other day, if you ask me for something, I don't mind helping you because I know that you're doing all you can do. Now, if you were lazy and you sitting at home taking in all the government benefits and you still expect me to give, no, I told her I can't help you because you're not doing anything. You're just receiving from the government, everybody else, and then you expect me to help too. No, not just because I'm your dad. You got to show me you putting in the work, which she does. So that would be different for somebody like that on that aspect. If you putting in work, you're doing it, going to school, you're doing stuff to show that you're doing all you can, but sometimes you just do need a little bit of help. But that's not always the case.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's innate? Like, do you think that's natural in every human being that we feel as though because it's our parents and we're their children, regardless the age, that they should take care of us and should do things for us? Do you think that's innate, or do you just think that's taught? Or do you think?
No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, do you think it's the parents' fault why they let it go along too long?
Yeah.
And didn't put in place responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, in order to get this, if you clean your room, then you'll get $25 or whatever the case is. You know, if you get good A's or whatever in class, you know, you can go out, but just something to where this give them responsibility. So do you think it's innate, or do you think it's the parents' fault as far as why some of these children entitled feel? I would
say it's most of the parents' fault, and I'm putting myself in there. My second daughter, I spoiled the hell out of her, and now I'm dealing with it. And I'm not saying she just totally bad, but I was always give, and then when she want, I'm like, damn, why you always asking? And then I got to step back and realize that was my fault. So I would say it's the parents' fault. And I know some parents are gonna be like, what? That's crazy. But yeah, we gotta check and own it. Like you just said, if we don't give them responsibility and we just keep giving it to them, I think we are creating our own monster. And if we get mad in a sense, because this is what we created. Because you know, Matt, when we was at home, I don't know if you did it, but I had to do a paper route. Remember, Dad told us we had to go around and freaking pick up those aluminum cans. So I think that's part of it. If you get that responsibility, you won't feel entitled because you know you got to go out and earn it. And then you appreciate it more. So I think, again, a lot of these parents nowadays, like we said, teach his own. We're not saying nobody's wrong. You do how you do your household, but got to deal with the consequence. But a lot of parents that I've met, single moms, will always say, I never had that when I was a kid. So I want to give them everything I didn't have. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. No means am I sitting here saying any parent is wrong for wanting their kids to have what they didn't have. But you just stated a minute ago, you got to be able to know when to say, okay, that's enough. You get a little too much. Now let's go ahead and start earning it and let you see what it's like to put in the work and still deserve it, but you earned it. And I feel like that would make a little bit more people or young kids appreciate it, because there is some young adults that is, very responsible. Like I said, it's a guy, and I got to give him his flowers. He's 20. He lives on his own. He has his own car. He goes to school. He's working. And the dude never misses work. I was like, damn, dude, why don't you take a day off? He's like, no, man, I got bills to pay. So, I mean, it is something out there. So I'm always going to be balanced and give the respect that it is some young ones that's doing their thing and responsible. So that's why I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like the whole generation. But it's a good amount. I will say that. It's a good amount that expected. But I think that's partly the parents. We fell into that, oh, I want them to have everything. They deserve everything I didn't have, which is good. But at some point, you got to go out there and earn that and understand that you deserve it. But a little hard work ain't going to hurt you. You still deserve it. You just put in that work for it.
Okay, so what about when it comes to, like, I want to say extracurricular activities? Let's say you're participating in something.
Oh, good one. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So in a sense, for me, then I do expect the parent to be there.
Right.
If it's not something that's just grotesque and,
right.
It's crossing the lines of morality and stuff like that, then no. But if it's something that's, is moral, is good perception wise to the other person or other people, then I feel as though the parents should be there. So in that sense, I think there's nothing wrong with that child feeling as though, okay, I'm doing this, my parents should support me.
Right.
So, like for my book, I felt as though I should get some support from everybody. I shouldn't have to reach out and say, oh, you're going to get this and get that.
Yeah.
Because, I have family, friends, whatever the case is, I feel as though that should be automatic. So that's why I was asking, do you think is innate? Because I think a part of us in a lot of different ways do expect something from somebody that we care about.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So in a sense, it is, and I'm gonna say it's bad. I just think it's a cutoff. Like you said, it has to be a cutoff as far as when you stop feeling as though, okay, I'm entitled when it comes to like money and stuff. But when it comes to other things, like I said, like if you're doing something that requires support from your parents, then I don't see anything wrong with them expecting that. Yeah. But I think the money thing is probably the biggest one. But even like with the emotional thing too, because if you always crying wolf and it's your fault, and you're like, well, I expect my dad to take my back because he's my dad. I don't care what I did. He shouldn't even take his back because I'm his daughter. Right. You know what I mean? So even that have lines that you can't cross or limits.
Yeah. It's funny you just said that, and it made me think. I'm gonna just say D. I ain't gonna say a whole name, but D. She used to always tell me that when she's going to college. Well, you need to help me out because I'm going to college. I'm the only one of your kids that's going to college, so you should help me just for now that merit alone. So I would laugh because I'm like, really? You doing that for me or for you? Because you're going to school to better yourself. You're going to school. You're going to get a good job, make all that money. You're going to kick back on me when you make all that money. So I always thought it was funny that she will always throw that at me as a guilt trip to where you're supposed to help me because I'm in school. I'm doing good for myself. And I'm like, true. I mean, I'm not saying she was wrong, but again, it's the attitude of, oh, because I'm in school, you automatically supposed to help me, which I was helping her anyway. But it's funny how that was what she threw at me is I'm the only one of your kids that's in college. So you're supposed to help me because I'm going to school. And I'm like, yeah, I know you're going to need help, but it should never be thrown in the face because if I see that, naturally, I'm want to help you anyway. Like I was saying earlier, when you see somebody doing for themselves, like you said, you generally want to help them because you know that they doing stuff to better themselves. But it's just funny that it was verbally always express. And I just think that was always hilarious to me because she was like dead serious, like, you supposed to help me because I'm going to school. I'm like, girl, you going to school for you. But it is true, but it's just the attitude of, hey, I'm in school, or if I'm in sports, you're supposed to help me. And again, if we see that, most parents going to see that, going to want to help anyway. But to throw it at the parent is where I'm like, that's where you acting too entitled. Like you being arrogant in a sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but that's funny you said that because it made me think of her. I always
Yeah.
did that. Yeah.
I'm always curious as far as like who makes this stuff up? Like who
Right.
sat back and made these rules up? I mean, I know, of course, the Bible has stuff in it, and that's where most people reference it from. But when it becomes like the norm,
Right.
like other than the Bible, where did this stuff come from? Like, how did that come about?
Right.
I just think about stuff like that because a lot of this stuff that people be talking about, what they expect, and you supposed to do this and you supposed to do that. I'm like, where are y'all getting this stuff from? Because once you get past a certain age, you should start being able to create your own like lifestyle and principles and guidelines and stuff like that, and not going off of what other people say.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you still want to keep it in the confines of, like I said, morality and stuff like that, and values. But I mean, not everything is like, okay, well, this is what society says we're supposed to do, so we should do that.
Right.
But anyway, that's a different topic. But yeah, so that's the best way I could see that. As far as because I'm thinking about my situation, and one of mine came to me, and this one is smooth, like didn't come out directly and say what they needed, but I think they know me to a point to where it's like, yeah, I paid my bills today and I don't have any money left over.
Right. Yeah.
So I automatically felt like, dang.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to do something. Like, I'm a dad and I'm a father and stuff, so I can't, knowing I have it. Right. So can I just look at it as like, nope, I'm not going to do it. You got to learn on your own. You should have been prepared.
Yeah.
So
now, I'm laughing.
What's that?
No, I said, I'm laughing so hard because your kids, my kids are the same. And again, I just say D. I think both of them, my son don't do it as much, but D would be good for that. She used to crack me up. She'd make me laugh more because she did the same thing. Damn, man, I just paid all my bills. All I got is $5 left and I'm hungry. And I can't eat. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, it make you feel like, damn, you're making me feel like I got to help you now. I can't let you go without eating. But it's just the way she expressed it about, oh, I just paid all my bills. And she's like, I did what I was supposed to do. So throwing those subtle hints out there. So yeah, I think a lot of parents can relate to that. That's a norm too, where the little guilt, I call it a guilt trip in a sense, that passive aggressive, like you're being passive and being aggressive with your ass at the same time. So I get you to just say, okay, here you go. And I remember something Dad used to always say. And I told my kids that, and they get mad at me when they was younger. Like, Dad, look, I have $5. I don't have $5. He had a whole wad of money. I said, but you got money in your hand. I had money, but that don't mean I had money to give you. Yeah, and I used to always tell them that, and they used to get mad at me. That don't make no sense. And then my oldest, she told me the other day, she said, I get it now. I always remember you used to always tell us that. And now I understand. Just because I have it don't mean I have it to give. But if you need it, I'll give it to you. And there was an incident that happened with my oldest. She told me the other day when we had a conversation. She had a flat one time, and she called me, and I was at work. And she told me the other day she felt disappointed because she said I was upset and I didn't want to go help her. And I said that wasn't the case. What made me upset is she told me, oh, I'm bringing my friend home, and he's with me, but I need you to come help me change his tires. So I'm thinking, you got a dude with you. What the hell is he doing that I got to come all the way over there and then help change a tire, and you don't got no money, and he ain't got no money? And I said, why are you with this dude? Because I thought it was her, like her boyfriend. but she told me it was just her male friend. So when I get over there, I was a little agitated. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why are you not helping? He's like, I'm sorry, sir. I don't have no money. But one thing he did say, I think he said to make me get on my good side. Because I was like, so why are you here? Because he's like, I live right down the street. He said, but I ain't gonna leave Keish by herself. I wanted to make sure she all right when you got here. I said, okay, you know what? You just redeemed yourself, but at the same time, you still could have helped do something. You know, he just sitting there like, you know, he ain't had nothing to do but be bored.
He could have took the tie off. He could have prepped it or something.
You know, so that's what I was telling her. It's not that I was upset for helping her. I said, that's what I'm saying about when a dude comes into your life, and not this guy in particular, but I'm just speaking in general. If you have a dude come in your life, in my eyes, he's telling the dad, okay, I'm taking that role. You always gonna be there, obviously, because you're the dad. I'm taking the responsibility. Whatever she needs, I got it. She needs me to come get her, I got it. I got her back. So that's what I was telling her. It's not that I don't want to help, but if you have a man in your life, he's supposed to be showing that he's taking that initiative to take that responsibility. And that's what part of comes with being in a relationship with that young lady, especially when it comes with dealing with a dad. Because I was like, he should not be sitting there just acting like he ain't got shit to do and expect me to be okay with it, you know. So Keisha's like, don't get mad at him. He tried this, and that. I'm like, all right, you're making up too many excuses for him. But then he told me the situation, so everything worked out. But it's just, she told me the other day, she felt like I was wrong because I didn't want to come help her. And her mentality is, well, you my dad, you shouldn't have no question. You should just come right away. And I said, yeah, but if you telling me you with a dude and you still got me coming, something's wrong with that picture. So that's what I was telling her. So my point is on all that, again, there's nothing wrong with helping, but when you with a significant other, you a lady, you can't always tell your dad that you got to be there when that should be his responsibility, because that's what he's telling you. I'm doing this to take over and take that spot. You can be there when you need to, but for now, I got it. So that's one thing I'm adamant on with my daughters, is I don't know how you feel about that, but if you date some dude, he's supposed to be able to do whatever it is that I be doing, because that's why he's with you.
Right. Well, like I said, that goes back to the traditional way of, as far as protecting your flock or your children. And that's where the whole adage come in from, when you get married or the person get married and the father is walking the bride down, because he's basically giving away his responsibilities, like you said, to that man.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where it comes in. It's kind of tricky. So when you're saying that somebody's dating, well, yeah, I guess so. Because I was going to say, if somebody's dating, you still expect them to take that role as if they're the father that's protecting them.
Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because, again, if he's there with you and you in a situation, to me, he's useless. Like, why is he there if he can't help you at that point in time? Like, to me, and I told my daughters that because they both said the same thing. No, we should call you first. I'm like, for me, I don't know how you feel, but when I'm with a woman and if I can't help her, I feel embarrassed. For one, I'm like, damn, I ain't doing my part. The first thing I'm like, I don't want you calling your dad. Let me handle it. If I can't handle it, damn it, if you gotta call your dad, call your dad. Because to me, that looked like I ain't doing my part. For her dad to have to come down and help while I'm there, it's a pride thing for me, ego, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm gonna feel some type of way, because I feel like that's me. I should be getting your back. You shouldn't have to call your dad. And that's where I'm different with these young guys. These young dudes like, yo, call your dad. See if your dad can help you. I'm like, seriously, you're not even gonna try to help? You just gonna say call your dad first? Nah, that to me is a red flag. So it was another time. This was about 5 years ago, and I was at the gym working as a trainer. And again, she, for whatever reason, she gets a lot of flats, but she called me. It's like, Dad, I need you to come change my tire. I was like, damn, D, I'm Keisha, I'm right in the middle of a session. Well, I really need help. I gotta go to work. I said, okay, where you at? I'm at so-and-so. I'm like, damn, where you at? You don't live over there. Oh, I'm at my friend's house. I said, all right, I go over there. Mind you, it was raining outside. I get there. She on the joint changing the tire. I'm like, what's going on, Keisha? Oh man, I need this tire. This damn tires are flat. I don't have the jack or something she needed. So I said, okay, let me get it. I said, who are you here with? Who apartment is this? She's like, oh, it's the dude I'm talking to. I said, where he at? Oh, he in the house. Sound like damn Smokey. Oh, he in the house. I'm like, in the house? On the apartment? What the hell is in the apartment for? This is what blew my mind. Oh, he's in the apartment with his dad. What the fuck? Him and his dad is in the freaking apartment. You outside in the rain, changing a tire. And this is why I got mad at her. She defended him. Well, don't get mad. He don't know how to change a tire. I'm like, are you serious? But you do. And you're the woman. But this fool don't know how to change a tire. But he upstairs playing games with his dad. I went off. She's like, Dad, don't go upstairs. Don't go upstairs. Because I'm going to go grab his ass and drag him outside, make him change that tire with me. Because to me, I said, you need to let him go. I told her right there, that dude is not the dude for you. I'm sorry. I don't care what the hell he doing. If he laying it, that's all he can do. Get rid of his ass. Because if he can't help you or have the decency to be like, let me try. Even if he pretend like he knew what the hell he was doing, I'd have been cool. But this dude like literally didn't do shit. He just stayed in there with his daddy and played video games. So the point of all what I'm saying is, to me, if you dating a guy, that's his responsibility. You to have just your dad come over there and you have the audacity not to come downstairs and be like, sorry, sir. He didn't even come down. So to me, that make me as a dude feel like I'm not doing my part. So that's why I tell my daughters, it's not that I'm taking away my responsibility. You should be with a guy that has that ability to be able to help, even pretend his ass know how or something. So that's where it was like, well, you my dad, you're supposed to be the one to help me. And I'm like, I get it, but no, not when you got two grown ass men sitting upstairs playing games, and she said they tried, but they couldn't do it. That to me is BS. Because what the hell is, I said, how come you know how to change it and they don't? So I was like, that's a poor ass excuse. So that's why, yeah. Sorry for the long story, but yeah.
But see, you know what? And I know somebody gonna have kind of pushback on this, and it's gonna sound crazy. But this is what I'm still struggling with. Like, I know it's the feminists that more so talk about women are equal and this and that, but there's still other than feminists, there's other women out there, not all, but a good majority says that we can do just the same thing or if not better than what a man can do. Right. And they keep saying they're equal. So for me, it's like, I hate that because for me, you can't have both sides. You can't say at 1 minute, you're the damsel in distress and I can't do anything, so I need a man to do it. And then when you make it feel as though it's okay, well, I'm equal, so I can do just as much as you can do, if not better. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we have to draw a line somewhere and determine, okay, what are we talking about when we say women are equal to men? Because based off of that, equal means you're the same. Right. So if you're saying you're the same, then by her changing her tire, there's nothing wrong with it because she's equal. If a woman is equal, and if women are fighting for equality, saying that they're as equal as men, then you have to do the same thing a man can do. Yeah. So you have to take all that stuff out the picture and stop saying, well, this is the man's responsibility to protect and provide. Well, hell, why am I doing that if you're equal to me?
Yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I get it. But this is what I'm going to say is a little different. I'm sorry if I cut you off. Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
So, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm saying for a man, that's divine masculine is always going to be a protector and provider. So it's going to be done without being said. It's not a role because you're a man that you have to do it. You're going to do it because that's naturally who you are and you're in that energy. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that should not have to be said. That's with no question you're going to do that. You know, because I'm like that with certain things. Like, no, this is what a man. This is what I'm supposed to do. Not necessarily say a man, but this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I feel as though I want to do. So I think any man that's in that masculine divine energy is going to do that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't push that whole narrative that women are equal, because now you're teetering along dangerous, not you, but that's teetering along dangerous lines by saying that women are equal. Equality means you're exactly the same. So then you can't have no gender roles. You can't say, well, this is what a man do, this is what a woman does. That has to go out the window.
Yeah.
So in a sense, I'm not saying that's what they was doing.
Right.
But how can you push their argument, say, man, you're not being a man. You're less, you know what I'm saying? Because this whole narrative of women is equal is being pushed.
Right. I agree with what you're saying, but this is where I'm gonna say it's different for 2 points. One, because she called me. Now, if she'd have did it by herself and dude wasn't there, then of course. But I guess the chivalry thing, like, I know what you said, I get it, I know exactly what you mean. If you saying you could do it, then go do it. So that's probably what his mentality was. But to me, it's gonna be chivalry. Like, you know what, let me get it just because it's rain outside. And if you more the feminine type woman anyway, then let me go and get it. Now, if you the woman that kind of like, you could go play ball and strap it up and you box and slap box with her, you know she got that little masculine side. So you're like, babe, let me know if you need help with that tire. But, and Keisha has that because the way their mom helped raise them, she kind of gave them that boyish side too. But the second part is because she felt like I had to go help. Not had to, but she called me for help. So that's why I say, that's why he should have been feeling some type of way, because to me, I'm not gonna let nobody call their dad, even if I feel like she can handle it. I'm like, what you calling your dad for? I got it. Let me go see what's wrong with it and pretend I know what the hell I'm doing. But that's my point, is if she didn't call me, then it wouldn't be no big thing, because yeah, like you said, she was already working on it anyway. But to call me and to say, well, you my dad, you need to get over here ASAP, and you got a dude lazy in the room, that's where I think the disconnect is because you're calling another man to do it. We already have a man there. So you're right. If you could do a man's job, then you shouldn't call me. Don't call your dude and just do it all yourself and just be like, hey, dude, I changed the tire by myself. You still playing video games? Give me a beer. Let me have one with you. Then, yeah, I'd be like, okay, you played your part. But for you to call the male figure is already male figure in the presence is the reason why it's a little different from what I think you're saying. I mean, I agree with what you're saying because I deal with this all the time with women at work. But this particular situation, I say is different because she had to call me, where, you know what I'm saying? Because she felt like, that's my dad, he better get his ass over here. And you have a dude upstairs. You know what I mean? That's why I say that's the difference. Where
all right, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Does it matter if it's the dad or if it's any man? Because my thing is, it's any man. Like, I really believe every man should be skilled in every infrastructure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that way you shouldn't have to call a plumber. You shouldn't have to call an electrician. You know what I'm saying? Carpenter or mason.
Yeah.
All that stuff that man should be able to do.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, does it make a difference if it's just the dad or if it's any man in general?
Well, yeah, any man in general. But I mean, I think because I want to keep it on the subject of the the entitlement. So that's the only reason why I'm using that example. Is because, you know what I'm saying? But on another day, yeah, I agree with you 100. But just for the topic at hand, the entitlement aspect of it, that's the only reason why I brought that up. You know what I mean? It's because that. But yeah, any other day, yeah, man should be able to do that. Like, Felicia, I'll be over there to fix your fridge because I know she got a problem with her ice maker. So, but see, even that, I told her, don't call nobody, because she's like, I call a maintenance dude. And I'm like, what the hell you calling him for? You know, I get offended by it because I'm like, that making me look like I ain't doing my part.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, why you got to call somebody else? Damn, give me a chance first. If I fuck it up, then go like, dude, you tried. You ain't helping. You making it worse. Well, at least, that's why I feel, at least play that role. Even if you can't, then by all means, you got to do what you got to do. But
so
yeah. No comments?
No, I was gonna say, well, would that make it worse if you mess it up and then she had to call the other dude and like,
yeah, that would be messed up because it's like, damn, this dude fucked your shit up. Yeah, so that would be even worse. But exactly. I mean, yeah, but I'm just saying though, you gotta make an effort though. I think effort,
I agree.
Yeah, counts for something. But nowadays you can YouTube the hell out of it. I've been YouTubing shit left and right nowadays, so
Yep.
Because we were trying to change the light bulb on that damn Traverse. And it's not your typical back in the day where you open the trunk or the hood, pull the light out, and just put the new one in there. Shit. That shit was a project. And I'm like, this is a Chevy now. But anyway, I know that's another subject. Huh?
That's like mine. For the jack, you got to take the whole freaking bumper off just to take the headlight off.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, dude. It was ridiculous. But yeah. So anyway, so needless to say, because I know we're coming to an end, I would say after we're talking, kids or young adults can be entitled depending on what they're doing with themselves. Now, if you're just being a lazy bum and just because we're your parents, we don't owe you anything. Like I told my daughter the other day, I did my part. I'm always going to be there for you, but I'm not entitled to come running to you right away if you need help, if you haven't exhausted all your other options. So entitlement can be overused to a certain extent, but I think certain things emotionally, all that, we definitely need to be there. So I think on that aspect, even to a certain extent, that could be entitlement on that aspect. But as far as anything else, no, you got to put in the work. I don't have a problem helping any of my kids if they put in the work and they showing that they made an effort. And if anybody out there, y'all agree, disagree, please leave a comment, something, let us know how y'all feel about this topic today.
Hold up. We got some comments coming in late. Coming in. So Diamond Girl says, I spoiled the hell out of my son. I'm lucky he turned out so good. He never asked for anything. So sometimes it's innate in people. Yeah, that's what I think. I think part of it is innate.
Yeah.
Yeah, she says, sorry you came in on the tail end. No worries, you showed up. So that's what counts.
Yeah. Right.
But
that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh. Well, we appreciate the comment, though. That's a good one. You're right. And that's why I say not everybody. So I always want to make sure I clarify that. We don't speak on saying everybody, but it is some that's out there. So we have to keep it balanced and speak on the ones that are. Because it's, again, I don't know about you guys, but I talk with a lot of parents, and that's always the first thing that come out parents' mouths. So it's obviously out there, but we're not going to go backwards. We already discussed all that. But thanks for the comment, Damian. I appreciate it. And you are a great mom. Keep doing what you're doing.
All right.
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. For me, I always say it's relative to each individual person. I don't jive with the whole society conformality and stuff. So I don't conform to society's rules and this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you shouldn't do. I do what I do based off what I'm downloaded by the universe, and that's how I roll. So I think it is to a point that children do have a sense of entitlement. And like you just said, when it comes to emotional support and stuff like that, it shouldn't be no ifs and buts about it, unless they're doing something that's out of morality, out of character, principles, values, and all that stuff. Then, no, I don't think we should be supporting them or feel as though we have to if they're doing stuff that's wrong. So they have to be doing the right thing and being a productive citizen, for that to be okay. So with that being said, Your thoughts becomes your beliefs. Your belief becomes your reality. Remember, check us out on Spotify, and enjoy your day. Again, we'll post this again on Wednesday. And peace, love, and light.
And we out.
All right.